Hi guys, welcome to our next video. I'm from the Salesforce Drillers team, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at SOQL in Salesforce. The SOQL, or the Salesforce Object Query Language, is used to fetch data from the Salesforce database. It is very similar to the SQL, or the Structured Query Language, which is used worldwide for your database reading and writing, but SOQL is only specific to your Salesforce platform. Syntax-wise, it follows almost the same syntax as the SOQL queries in your org, but unlike SOQL, it does not have a star operator inside of it. So here is the example that we have on the SOQL, and the syntax goes like this: select ID, name from account. So the ID and name are the fields that we are querying, we are fetching, and the account is the object that we are fetching these two fields from. But you cannot run select star from account like SOQL. In here, you need to explicitly add in both the fields to your query. So again, all the references to everything in this video are found on our website, salesforce.com. But let's say you know the syntax. So the first step towards running your SOQL query is you need to go to your org, open the developer console that you have, which is open right here. And then you need to go to the query editor and you need to write your query here. So I'm going to write select ID from account. Then once you have written this query, you can click on this execute button right here. And as soon as you click on it, you'll see that it returns you a total of 32 rows, which are all the accounts in our org. So now I can add in any more fields here, like the name as well. And when I execute this, it will return me like all the accounts in my org right here with their names, right? Additionally, you can add in as many fields as you want from your account object. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go in the fields. So you can query any of the fields here by seeing their API name from here and adding it into the query. So let's just add in the phone field too. And then you can add in any of your custom fields as well. So I'm going to add the active checkbox here. Keep in mind, when you add in custom field, you need to use its API name, which is appended by __c. Again, I'm going to run this query and you see that we get all the data based on these fields too. This is the simplest way to run your SOQL queries in org. You can use this query editor in the developer console to do it. Now, after you have run successfully the SOQL queries in your developer consoles, there is an alternative way to run SOQL queries too, and that is by using this tool called Workbench. So let me log into the Workbench tool right now, and I'll show you guys how do you do queries in the Workbench tool. So here, as you can see, I have just logged into Workbench. And after I've been able to log into Workbench, you can go to the queries section here and click on SOQL query. And in here too, you can either use the selector here, like account, then you can select whatever fields you want to count, or like the active checkbox, it'll automatically create the query for you, or you can just manually go ahead here, add whatever fields you want. When you query using this query button, it will return you all the rows here. So you can run all the queries that you can run in the console right here in the Workbench as well. Alright, so after you have learned how to run queries with your Workbench too, then the next step is seeing how you are able to run this query in your Apex classes or in your Apex. Since you need to know how to run this into Apex, it's not always going to use this query editor. So in order to do that, let me open my anonymous window, since this works with Apex. So basically, any queries that you write here work in Apex inside of square brackets. like this and a semicolon. And when you are querying like accounts here, you need to use a list of account with this query, since this is going to return you multiple account objects. So you're going to do list account AC equal to this, and then I'm going to print out this list here, AC. Then we're going to execute it. You'll see that that query ran, and whatever account records were returned, if you see this, those account records were set in this AC list of account object. This is the way how you do SQL queries right here. Now, this was for the standard account object. If you want to do SQL queries for any custom object, so let me open one custom object. Go to object, then let's say I have this merchandise object right here. If you want to do query on this, you need to use the API name of this object. Now I can do query like this, select ID comma name from merchandise, click execute. This returns me just single record because I only have one record created in my org for the merchandise. I go here, so you can see there is only one record in my org for all the records. So using this is like the basic syntax of how we use SQL queries in Apex or with standard and custom objects. Now we come to a little more detail about SQL. So we have a where clause in SQL queries. And where clause behaves just like it does in your SQL, where it allows you to create filters on the data that you are fetching in with and or statements and operators. So for example, if I go back to my account query, right, the syntax for the where clause goes like this. After the from account, I can use the where keyword. And let's say we only want to fetch in names or fetch in accounts which have this active checkbox as yes, that you can see right here. So I'll need to write here active underscore C, that is the name of the field, equals to yes. And I click on execute. Now you see this query only returned me the accounts which had the yes value in the active. So accordingly, you can add an AND operator here, and then maybe you want to look for accounts which have this active checkbox as there and which have a value in this phone field. So you can do phone is not equal to null. Null operator or null value works here, guys. So it will pull in all the accounts which have a phone value. So I'm gonna execute it. It returns me the data. Then instead of the AND, I can also, oops, I pressed Control O. You can also use the OR operator here. So as you can see, the OR operator returned me more queries since it looked for data which had the active as yes, or if it had a phone number. So accordingly, you can build a very complex where clause here as well with all this stuff. The only thing you need to consider is there is a limit on the number of characters that a query can have. So apart from that, you can build all the logic inside the where clause or any filters that you want to pull in. Now, once you know how the where clause works, the next really important function to use is called the limit clause. So what the limit clause does is, let's say this query that I just ran with this where clause returned me 13 records. If I only want or limit the records returned in this query to 5, I'll add a keyword here called limit and 5. I execute it. So now it will only return me 5 records. This limit is important because there is a limitation in the SQL query that it cannot return you more than 50,000 records. So what that means is if your org has 50,000 records, right? In that scenario, if you run a query of this, like select name phone active from account and you have more than 50,000 records, your SOQL will try and return you more than 50,000 records, but it will break because SOQL cannot return those. So in those cases, you need to make sure that you put in a limit clause here of 50,000 so that your SOQL query does not break. So like this, you can use the limit keyword as well. And also this is case insensitive. I mean, I'm just using block letters with where clauses because it is fine, but you can use them in small as well. It does not really matter. If I use like select in the lowercase, it's still gonna work. Alright, so that is how your limit clause works in SQL queries as well. Now, after the limit clause, the next thing you need to use or know about is the group by and order by clauses. The group by clause is used to apply aggregate results on the query and group data by something. So if I use, let's say I have this query, and I'm just gonna remove all this for now. So let's say I want to find out or group this result by all the active values. Let's say I want to separate out my values with the yes and the blanks. So I'll do something like group by active. This groups this query into two sets which have, or I mean, it should return me all the records which have this active as yes and then as no. But you need to apply aggregate function here. So with whenever you use group by, you need to apply an aggregate function here called count ID, and then you need to be this active here as well. And then you run it. So if you see, this returns an aggregate query. So whatever record I have in my org which have the active value as yes, it returns, shows me that I have 10 such records. And then I have 22 records in my org which have this active value as no. Similarly, instead of doing it with an active checkbox, I can do it with a name field on the account like this. So it just groups all the data, account data in my org based on the name. And if I have any accounts with the same name, like I have 3 accounts with this lightning test, so it shows me the count 3. So just as you use the count, you can also use other functions here, like your min, sum, max, all that stuff. So I can actually do like sum here and from the account maybe use or sum a number field. I don't have one, but if I had, I could just like sum field or so do something like that. This is how you use the group by keyword. After this, the next keyword is your order by. This is a lot simpler than the group by. Basically what you can do is, let's say you are just querying this data. If you want to order this data in ascending or descending order, you can do something like this, and you'll need to specify what field you want to order by it for. So I need to say I want it to order by name, and then in ascending order. So I click on execute and you'll see that it now returns me the data in alphabetical order or ascending order. Similarly, you can order by any number field or other fields too. You can use ascending, or you can use descending. So you can also use DASC. Then now it will return you data in the opposite order. This is how you use the order by keyword. Now after this, the next thing is using relationship queries like parent to child and child to parent queries. How you use this is, I'm going to demonstrate with an example. So let's say I go to an account record. right? This one. So you'll see I have my account record here and I have one child contact record under it. So let me just first pull the data of this account. So I'm going to use a where clause and just say ID equals to this account ID that I just copied. Right, so this gives me the data of this account. Now let's say I can also get the data of the child contacts under this account with the same query. And how I do that is I'll put a comma here and I'll use an inner query here called select ID, comma, first name, comma, last name from contacts from account, and I do this. Oh, I think I made a mistake. I think I used a dot here instead of the comma. Yeah. If I do this, you see I return the account and it also returns me all the contacts under my account that I just used. So similarly, this contacts is a relationship name. And how do you find that out? So you go to the contact object, right? Since this is a relationship between account and contact, you see this is the standard name field. You click on this and you'll see here that the relationship name is contacts. So this is what we used. Now, instead of using the account, if you were to use a custom object like this merchandise, this merchandise has a record and there is a child beneath this called merchandise archive. So the way you will query this is I copy the plain name of this merchandise field. So I write here select ID comma name from merchandise and I put in the ID of the merchandise record here like this. Then I go to the child merchandise archive record. Oh, I think I put the ID of the merchandise archive there. But you go to the child merchandise archive record, you open this object from here, view fields, and you look for the lookup field to the merchandise, which is right here. You open this up and you see this is the child relationship name. Since this is a custom object, in here you'll need to query it like when you'll use the relationship name here, but since it's a child object, you'll need to use underscore R. Since all relationship fields are referred by an underscore R. You use this, you click on execute, and you see that you're able to get the merchandise record here and the one child below that record. This is how you do a parent to child query. The only thing to keep in mind here is that you can only go one level down. You cannot now query child records under the contact or under the merchandise archive here. So you can only go one level down while doing an inner query like this. Afterwards, we're going to look at the opposite, which is how do you query child data from the, how do you query the parent data from the child? So that is a lot simpler. So let's say we're going to do the reverse here. We're going to query the contact from your contact, and where I'm going to use the ID like here. Open this up. This is my contact record. I'm going to use the query here to execute it, and you see able to get the contact. So since this is also related to an account, I can get that data from the account by doing query like this, account dot name. So now when I run this, it returns me the name of the account to here by the account dot name. And the way this works is if I go to the the contact object, so this lookup field here, I click on its label. So the name of the field is account. So you are able to get that field here by doing an account dot name. Similarly, you can now access any field from the account. You can access the active custom checkbox here like this from the account. So it is blank on the account. on this we queried, I open the contact account and this is blank right here. So similarly, this is how you do it. You go from the child to the parent like this. Now, interestingly enough, you can go till 5 level upwards from the child to the parent. So you can do, if there is a parent of the account to, let's say, the owner, you can do something like account.owner.name. And this will also work. It gives you the account.owner.name here. You can go like 5 levels upwards by using this query. While using it with a custom object like the merchandise archive, everything is the same. I'm just going to show you guys right here. I'm going to copy the new object merchandise archive. I'm going to use the record here like this. Now, if I just need to query anything from the parent, I'll again look for the lookup field on the merchandise archive object, which is this merchandise underscore C. I put this, and then if I want to access anything from the merchandise name, I'll need to use the underscore R in order to refer it. So if I run this, merchandise underscore C, this field here, this actually returns me the ID of the parent merchandise record, and by using merchandise underscore R, I'm able to access the actual value of other fields on that merchandise record. This is how you go from the child to the parent in the case of custom objects. Just like need to remember this underscore R logic. Now, after this, there are certain important limits that you guys need to keep in mind, which are all there on our website, but I'm gonna just go through them one by one. So as I told you before, we can only fetch a maximum of 50,000 data rows in one transaction in SQL queries. So when we say one transaction, that means I can do 5 queries in my Apex class, and if at any point of time the total combined rows across all those 5 queries runs over 50,000, you'll get an error. So you can get 10,000 in first row in first query, then 10,000 again in second query. As soon as that total cumulative rows increase 50,000, you'll get an error. Then in one transaction, you can only do 100 SQL queries. So if you are doing a query in a for loop or something, that is going to break your code, since that is not that best practice. So you need to avoid doing queries in your for loops because of this limit. Then the last 2 points are again what I told you. When we go from a parent to child using an inner query, you can only go 1 level down. But if we go the other way around from the child to the parent, we can go upwards till the 5 objects. So again, everything example, everything is here, guys. You just go to website and references out. But this was it. This was a brief class on the SQL in Salesforce. I hope you guys understood it, and I'll see you guys in our next video.